Hello, Lennon.
Hello, Campbell.
You know what my favorite book is?
Or tell me, wait, you read?
Yeah, I read sometimes.
I didn't think you read.
Anything with a pop-up or a picture, I'm in that thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But when I want to put on the reading glasses, when I really want to get smart with it, I like to look up Merriam-Webster definitions. And today, I looked up one specific definition in there called hater. A hater, a person who hates someone or something. Informal, a person who actively and aggressively criticizes and disparages something or someone, such as celebrity or public figure. What does hater mean to you, Lennon?
Well, honestly, I feel like you just described yourself because you're one of the most critical people I've ever met.
I hate that you said that. And that's a theme that we're running with today. Haters are an important part of human history. Haters just get shit done. See, now my tune has changed. I am all for the haters.
How have you turned it? How have you turned this into a positive?
I needed to. But today we are going to look at some of cinema's biggest haters. Now, me and Lennon have compiled a list of 5 each. And we're just going to be going through who we think, whether justifiably or not, is the biggest haters. Now, Lennon, what is your first pick for cinema's biggest hater?
Well, I feel like I'm going to go with a more recent one and probably one of the most obvious ones, but I just got to go with Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor from the Superman movie. I don't know. I just feel like his whole mission is purely just to get rid of Superman, and he does not want to hide that whatsoever.
I did not do the Baravian military conflict. It was all to get to you.
I don't know. I just feel like he belittles Clark's morality as naive, sneering about how easy it is to manipulate the world around him, and he's obviously got this complex about how people just kind of latch onto Superman as an idea and as a person, and he feels like it's just so easy for him. And as far as pettiness goes, and out of all of the Lex Luthor portrayals that we have had on the silver screen, I just feel like this is the embodiment of just petty.
It's pettiness with a hint of homoeroticism, because he does make a child with Clark and his DNA. I think is that just a comic book thing? The clone of Superman has Lex. Is that in the movie? Either way,
Bizarro is like a clone of Superman, isn't it?
Oh God, Bizarro? Oh no, I'm not talking about Bizarro. I'm talking about Superboy.
That definitely didn't happen in the movie.
Oh shit. Okay, damn. Okay. Well, yeah, no, 100%. Lex is probably one of cinema's biggest haters, and I think it's just because he's bold. It's just bold people, really. That would do it.
He's just mad that he didn't get onto a Heaps subscription early enough.
And talking about our sponsor this week, it is Moshna.
Could you imagine?
Okay, well, how about a character who has the opposite problem? Instead of no hair, he has too much hair. My first hater is the Grinch.
Okay, that's a classic.
I know, I thought that was a pretty good one. He hates Christmas. He hates the Who's of Whoville. He hates everyone. He's a literal green psychopath. His antics turn from being, he's a festive Karen at the start. Like, he's just like, oh, I hate this. I don't really like this. Like most Australian mothers about Halloween. And then he goes into full-on home invasion, all because isn't it because he got bullied when he was a kid because he was green? He ends up with a girl anyway. But like a big hater. And he's the first one out of my list because he probably is the weakest hater, because his heart does grow 3 sizes and he does rescind his hater ways. I'm going to make a promise to you. None of my other haters on this list do that. They are all lifelong haters. They might have little lapses. They might turn to the heroes at some point, but they will always come back to being a bona fide hater. So what is your second pick?
Well, keeping in the DC universe, DCEU, DCU, Snyderverse, potato, whatever you want to call it, I've picked General Zod from Man of Steel.
Nice.
And I just think it's because he's got tunnel vision. He's got such a narrow focus, and he's got his, broader mission. He wants to be able to restore his race or whatever. And it gets to the point where naturally Clark takes that opportunity away from him. And then he's just like, all right, my whole purpose now is to try and laser this one particular family in a building. No, he's basically just...
Fuck this family in particular.
He calls the human race a primitive species. He's declaring that he's bred to be a warrior and mocks Superman's or Kal-El's emotional attachment to Earth as a weakness and all that stuff. And he's incredibly cold and calculated, but I just think he's also incredibly petty, and he will, if he can build a new Krypton by absolutely harvesting everyone on Earth. He doesn't give a fuck. So I think that he's incredibly petty, especially to Kal-El's parents, like Jor-El, where he's basically just like, hey, I've got another solution here. And he's just like, I don't want to hear it, and just fucking stabs him.
He was bred to be a hater, though. That's like his genetics.
Yeah.
He is bona fide bred to be a hater, which is great. That's an amazing type of hater.
I like that about him, you know? To be fair, Michael Shannon's portrayal and performance of Zod, especially from that angle, is just so deliciously evil and really entertaining to watch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. All right, my second pick, and I guess we're still in the superhero, supervillain realm, but I'm moving over to Marvel, the House of Ideas. Some haters are justified, okay? I'm just going to say that off the rip. This one's a hard one to argue against. It's Magneto.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because his hate for humans started because he got tortured by Nazis, arguably the worst of us. Try to make an argument that they're not. Lennon, go right now in public. Record it. But no, this guy, okay, he is the Michael Jordan of haters. I think that knife scene in First Class is a perfect example of this. And like, yes, it is a revenge flick, but when we realize that, yes, he gets his revenge on the Nazis, that then continues throughout all the movies against humankind as a whole, which I think that's a great character motivation. It's one of those haters that you definitely sympathize with and understand. But at the same time, you know, it sort of makes you go, we're not all Nazis. It really, if Magneto hates all humans because of Nazis, it really does make Professor X's argument of, it's very close to the not all men argument. But you do feel like we're not all bad, but Magneto hates us all anyway. So I think it's understandable, but he does get lost in the sauce quite a little bit, which is why I've put him as my second pick on haters. Lennon.
Yeah, well, I also think with the continued persecution of mutants from the human race as well, outside of his upbringing and his experience, you know, in the concentration camps and all that, I feel like that only helps perpetuate this feeling of just like, oh, fuck these guys, you know?
Why was that one of the smartest things I've ever heard you say? I really feel like that was, you know, when they photoshopped two comedians' faces onto like some Roman philosophers, that was your version of that.
It's because I actually read, Campbell.
Oh, shit. Well, I read the dictionary.
Okay.
and it's actually got all the words in it. What is your third pick, Leonard?
So I went with Syndrome from The Incredibles. So
excellent. Good choice.
I haven't watched this movie in a long time, but he stands out to me as being just such a sniveling little bitch. He's obviously rejected multiple times from Mr. Incredible as a kid, and he's basically taken that general experience as a child, and he's just channeled all of his energy into overpowering the Incredibles, or Mr. Incredible specifically, and that's his whole motivation. The optics is to be a better superhero and beat Mr. Incredible, and I just think that is so petty, obviously very enjoyable, but he deserves to be in the pantheon of just the silver screen top haters. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Well, it's pretty much the same sort of idea as Lex Luthor, only instead of just having a beef against one superhero, he decides to have a beef against all of them, because he wipes out most of the superheroes that Mr. Incredible worked with up until that point. It is pretty insane. And yes, generational hater. All I can think of is that one scene where he's as a kid and he's doing the Kubrick stare, just staring up at like that is him. That's a hater stance. No one really has that stance without hatred deep in their eyes. Okay, my next pick. I've got Hopper from A Bug's Life.
Ooh.
He hates these damn ants, man. Flick especially. He hates these ants. He has some great quotes in this movie. I think this movie was formative for me. Actually, to be honest, I will say one thing about this movie. I think A Bug's Life is every child's introduction into how easily fascist ideals can infiltrate late-stage capitalist structures. And you know I fucking ate with that just then. I cooked with that line. I wrote it down because I was like, yeah, smart, Campbell. Who's the smart one that reads dictionary 2 now, bitch?
I'm doing that clap right now, but I'm snapping my fingers together.
Spoken word poetry, baby. But no, this movie is everything that defined me as a child, and I love this movie. But to get back over to Hopper for a second, he has some great quotes in this. When he's shouting at Flick, he's just like, you are all mindless soil-shoving losers put on this earth to serve us, which I'm pretty sure is a slur for ants. That is a slur. In another line, when he's talking about I think that speech that he's having where he coldly kills like 3 of his own men, when he's talking about the power of the ants because they outnumber them like 100 to 1, and it's just like, oh, does this grain hurt? Nope. Oh, does this grain hurt? Nope. How about this? And then he floods the room with a bunch of grain. He finishes that speech by going, it's not about food, it's about keeping these ants in line. He hates these goddamn ants, and that's why I love him. He is a great villain, and to be honest, we all relate. We've all had ants in the kitchen that we want to exterminate. I totally get him. What do you think about Hopper from A Bug's Life? Do you feel as strongly about it as I do?
I don't think anyone could feel as strongly about them as you do, Campbell. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great movie. It was overshadowed by ants.
Wait, what was the more popular movie? Was it Ants or A Bug's Life?
I feel like A Bug's Life might have been, because of the Disney version, might have been more popular when it came out, maybe. But
yeah, because I feel like Ants was overshadowed, but I don't.
Yeah, I feel like Ants is the one people remember now because the ant looks exactly like Cillian Murphy.
Oh, he does. Yeah, that's right.
He looks exactly like. Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, I watched the shit out of that movie.
Yeah, I feel like Ants has had the long reigning, but I want a resurgent of A Bug's Life. I think A Bug's Life had better themes in it. Obviously, you've heard me talk about it for a while now. God, I love that movie. All right, well, you haven't got anything to say other than questioning my loyalty to Hopper from Bug's Life. So, what is your 4th pick?
Not much to say about this one, but I just wanted to throw this in here because he was one of the first people that I thought of when you sent me through this topic, and it's General Hux from the sequel trilogy. So say what you want about the humor or how clunky some of the elements or the relationships or just how the sequel trilogy is executed. I've got my problems with them. Everyone has their problems with them. But one element that I did actually kind of enjoy is just how fucking snarky and petty General Hux is just towards Kylo the whole time. It's almost like, you know, him talking to Snoke is like him trying to like dob Kylo into the principal or the teacher all the time just to get Kylo expelled. And he kind of ends up becoming more of a comedic foil and thrown all about with Kylo, and you kind of enjoy
he hates
how
Kylo so much he becomes a double agent. Like, I'm surprised you're not going there. Like, he hates Kylo so much.
The spy, yeah, because his whole thing in that movie is just like, all that I care about is that he doesn't win. That is some real Lex Luthor energy, actually, to be
This is coming from a guy that, like, 2 movies earlier was ordering the massed extinction of multiple planets with the Starkiller base, and then all of a sudden he's like, but I really hate my co-worker. I just don't like him.
I will literally turn to the other team just so I can see his downfall.
That is it. Yeah, that's a generational hater. I do like that one. All right. Well, okay. My next one, my 4th pick. I've just got one line, and I think you'll get exactly who I'm talking about with this one. It was me, Barry. I traveled back in time and joked you off at Super. Do you know who I'm talking about with that one?
No.
What? I've got a meme to send you. I'm talking about Reverse Flash from Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. This guy,
I fucking know that.
What? Well, maybe that's a me and David thing. Me and David reference that meme to each other like pretty much every day.
Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend and you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch.
And that's not why he's a hater. I'm not counting the meme as a cinematic hatred. But if you don't know much about Reverse Flash, his whole identity is about hating Barry Allen, the Flash. Like, he hates Barry. There's a scene at the start of this movie where he's coerced a bunch of the Flash's rogues to help him go. I think they start off at the Flash Museum, which is crazy that Flash has a museum before he's even dead, but whatever. Goes to the Flash Museum and they're rummaging around stuff, and then all of a sudden Reverse Flash shows up and he plants a bomb on everyone. And he's like, I'm gonna blow this whole thing up. The whole city's gonna get blown up. Everyone will remember this day as the day that the Flash failed, and you will die. So he doesn't even just care about killing the Flash. He wants everyone to associate this with the Flash when they remember it in the city's history. And then the Flash is stuck with some goo. He gets the goo, whips it around, and then like attaches a bomb.
Oh no, not the goo.
The goo. Well, it's a comic book, man. There's goo in every comic book movie. Every comic book movie has a bit of goo in it. But the Flash gets his goo all over Reverse Flash, and there's a bomb on it. And then he's given the opportunity to deactivate the bombs. It's like, hey, you've got a bomb on you now to deactivate them. Crash Out King, because he's like, I would rather die right now with you than deactivate these motherfucking bombs. I'm doing it. This is what's happening. Then obviously the Flash goes back in time. That's the whole point of the Flashpoint paradox, is he goes back in time, saves his mum, and then everything has gone wrong. You know, Batman's dad is now Batman, Wonder Woman and Aquaman are going to war, the world's about to end, da 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 da. And right at the end of the movie, Reverse Flash shows back up next to Barry and he's like, yo, this sucks. Look at what you've done. And the thing is, Reverse Flash didn't make this happen. This was all the Flash's fault. And Reverse Flash only shows up to rub that fact in. Like, the Reverse Flash doesn't need to be there. He's just like, oh, hey, look at how you fucked up the planet. Look at what you've done. look at what you've done here, buddy. Like, he's literally there. He's on site immediately, beating the shit out of him. He skewers his leg with a metal pole just so he can do a villain monologue. Like, he says at one point, like, oh, you're such a hero, how noble. Oh, wait, you didn't stop JFK from getting assassinated or make sure that Hitler stayed in art school. You saved your mummy, and now now everything's fucked, and it's all your fault, buddy. I didn't do any of this. I did none of this. This is all the Crash Out King. The Reverse Flash, his level of hatred towards Barry is it's unrivaled in fictional space. And I swear, if you look up my favorite book, the dictionary, and look up Hater, it has a picture of Reverse Flash right next to it. This guy is generational. Anyway, I thought that's a great pick. What is your fifth and last pick, Lennon?
Well, my last pick, the reason why I picked this is because I only just recently rewatched this movie, and it's Ridley Scott's iconic Gladiator. It's Joaquin Phoenix's Commodus.
No, I like the first way you said it. Joaquin.
No, I definitely didn't stuff up the pronunciation of his name, and definitely didn't cut it out of this video of the final product. But I think that he's got like so many different complexes going on. It's insane. Like, he's kind of like into his sister, or like, you know, he's got this weird thing going on. But then the whole movie, he's just so jealous of what's his name? Maximus Meridius Russell Crowe, like whatever his name is. And he's basically just like, I'm going to try every underhanded trick in the book to try and stop this guy. And then Russell Crowe surpasses all of these trials and tribulations that Commodus throws his way. And then even before the final conflict, he just fucking knifes him.
It's definitely a hater move to get into a fair arms combat match in front of everyone that you're serving, like the public, and still do a snaky little cheat thing. Like that
still loses.
And he still loses. And the hate in that man's eyes as he loses is a great example of a hater. I mean, I think you've come up with some great picks. I'm gonna get into my last pick, unless you have anything else to say about Commodus.
Yeah,
I nearly said Commodore Falcon.
Commodore.
A hater of school zones, but no.
Hater of speed limits.
Yeah. Bottoming out the exhaust pipe because you go over a speed bump too quick, and now you sound real cool. That's what happened in my first car. I had a really cool sounding car because I went too quick.
Hater of not having a tap out or a unit decal sticker on my car.
A hater of not having Monster Energy drink stickers all over the dash.
A hater of not punching a hole in the wall when I get angry.
Oh, this is going to be hell for me to edit. Thank you, man. This is great. I'm just going to leave the screen blank for this. Okay. All right, my last pick for generational hater of cinema history. This one's also a fairly recent one. It is Spot from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think this is a great hater because, okay, so Miles hits him with a bagel, and so then he decides to become an omnipotent multiversal threat. This guy is probably, in terms of power scaling, the strongest one on our list. And he starts off as Miles says, barely a villain of the week. He is goofy at the start, but as he says, he lost his job, he lost his life, he lost his face. Actually, do you think he also lost his junk? Do you think he has a peen under all that?
Do you think he could somehow portal one into existence though, and
he
kill
could
anything?
steal someone else's.
Oh, now that's a crime. That's petty.
Imagine you're just sitting in bed and then all of a sudden your dick's in a portal being used by someone else. You have it's the ultimate glory hole. You have no idea what's on the other end of that portal. And that's the real evil of the Spot from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I ruin your manhood.
What are you fucking? Who knows? No, if I lost my junk because of some little spider brat, I'd want to tear apart reality myself. If that happened to me. But yeah, Spot is willing just because he felt slighted. Yes, he does have a deformity, but he also has unbridled power as he discovers to access the multiverse. As he says, he has power within his holes, or whatever he says in that weird ass quote.
So
but
gross.
stop talking about your holes, buddy. But he is willing to risk the fabric of reality, the canon events of all spider peoples, not even related to the one that he has beef with, just to get back at this literal kid. I get that his life is ruined, but like, yeah, worth it. But I'm more a fan of Peter Parker anyway. But no, with like at the start of this, especially his goals, he doesn't seem that messed up. Like obviously he's physically messed up, but he's just trying to rob a bank or rob an ATM. He's mostly just preoccupied with being like a good villain to Spider-Man, and then Spidey says, "Nah, you dude, you sort of suck," and then he decides to become a multiversal threat to literally everything in existence. So I think that level of hatred, just for like an offhand comment for a bad day, for a sassy 14-year-old, they're gonna be sassy. That is insane levels of hatred that I think rivals, if not goes worse than Reverse Flash, which was the next one down on my list. All right, so today, Lennon, how do you feel about our list? We've compiled a list of Lex Luthor, The Grinch, Magneto, General Zod, Hopper from Bug's Life, Syndrome from Incredibles, General Hux, Reverse Flash, Spot from Spider-Verse, and Commodore Falconus. How do you feel about this list that we've compiled today?
Call me BuzzFeed, because we've made another list, baby, and I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good.
I think we have defined what makes a good hater. Some of them justified. I think only Magneto is justified. And some of them just petty beyond belief, which I think personally is my favorite type of hater, because they will just do whatever in a story and it's great. Reverse Flash and Spot for me. Commodore Falcon is also a great one.
I think Commodore Falcon's my number one pick. I think that's primo petty.
Yeah, primo petty, 100%. All right, well, we'll wrap that today. Stick around next week, because I'll pull another thing out of my ass.
Stick around next week, because we'll come up with something. I don't know.
It's the top 10 lovers in movies. No, that's lame. I don't want to do that. No, I've got I would rather talk about more haters. I got more haters on my list. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Bye.